And then I just want to please hand over to Nick for the next session.
Cool. So this is actually the really fun part of it, is that any brand is really running a political campaign. It's continuously just running politics. It's trying to get more votes in, and voters are buyers who validate their product. In a traditional sense, it would take a couple of months to produce a product or content, and you push it out and you get it done. With the more of a flywheel effect that you're using, and it takes time, as Alistair mentioned, to build up that momentum, but as soon as you do, it's very easy to iterate, change, and produce a product that would have taken you 2 to 3 months to produce a 30-second sort of video. You can iterate and change the entire experience of your users and your customers in the shortest amount of time, because everyone is involved in this customer-centered approach of how you are trying to solve your product. So from a digital marketing point of view, or from a marketing point of view, you would use this. This is a simple view of how this would look, and there's a lot more to it, but from a simple view, it's looking at that attracting and that converting, that closing, and then delighting through the whole service that you provide. Momentum. So leads to the customer, promoters then help with the marketing, more selling, more services. So it's a more iterative approach to it. So it's very cool. Some nice examples, and I don't really want to say trends, but there's some more sort of things that are happening at the moment where people are more inclined to go towards that service and experience rather than brands. Brands are like losing that effectiveness. It's no longer I'm getting Coca-Cola because I like Coca-Cola. I like Coca-Cola because I like the product. I like the experience. So you see that a lot more with the ghost kitchens that are popping up, with the subscription boxes that you get with the brand product, with so that you're more interested in the experience that you have. You're more interested in the product that you receive than in the actual brand itself. How do we do this? How do we build that tech stack that actually is going to work? So it's a change of thinking, saying rather than this monolithic way of approaching your tech stack and we're saying, no, you need to be more holistic in how you approach your tech. So you're seeing a change from experience, from brand to experience, from heavy tech to leaner tech, to that customer relationship management, more centralized tech, to where everyone in your company, in your department, in your division, or in your team that's trying to work with the product, that is able to, through a no-code or low-code initiatives, or through OutSystems or any of those sort of approaches, to say, right, I can quickly develop an experience or a service that can delight my users, that can delight the people that I'm working with. That's essentially that shift that you need to be looking at. So while the whole flywheel is looking at that attract, engage, and delight, it's that systems and the foundations that's backing it up that then makes that happen. It's not just, it's a tool that I'm going to use and It's the foundations that you build upon it. So that's why we say it's not a tool, it's more of an approach that you need to take. So how does that look like? What are the actual things that you would do in each of those stages? As part of that engage and delight, because that whole process, you'd say, right, for the attraction part, you'd use fame. And fame, for fame, it's you'll be looking at your social media, at your marketing, at your paid advertising. So there's paid, owned, and earned, which is a whole nother class in itself. But part of that paid media, that earned media, that owned media is your content development, your search engine, your optimizations, your social medias. Then for that engagement part, you're looking at your website, your emails, your personalizations. But it's not that whole personalization as in that, because you can do that at more of a scale now. But it's that more personable, because I just don't want to have my name on a mailer. I want to know that you know who I am. And you can do that now through marketing automation, where you can do that more whole personalization through an automated way, but still having that engagement. Because remember, people now can go from discovery to purchase within minutes. They can find your product and purchase your products within minutes. So that changes the game a lot more from the traditional advertising. So that's why the the funnel, it doesn't work within a digital space because it requires a number of steps to go through, and then eventually it goes back around. This, with the wheel itself, the wheels are cool. So wheels itself is that you're looking at that engagement. Then the delight part, that service department, that's really the critical part, is saying, what, how do we really provide that service? A lot of people think, oh no, if I just do a pretty banner ad and people purchase my product, it's over and I'll repeat the process. No, it's that experience part that you're looking at. How do you provide that service? Maybe it's through chats, through chat bots that then that then leads to an engagement. Because when people are talking to other people, they're 10 to 20% more likely to purchase a product directly rather than through a site. So how do you get them from discovery to talking to your customers directly? So it's that messaging, it's that ticketing, that automation, is that onboarding, and it's everything else. And it's that loyalty program essentially that you have around your product that really provides that growth and really provides that intuitiveness that you need to grow and scale your company a little bit further on. So this is just a prettier slide, because I know that other slide had a lot of text there. So this is just a prettier slide to show at each point, what are some of the things that you'll use. You'll use ads, videos, bloggings, and lead flows, and then smart content that's following on from them. Tools. So it kind of boils down to two main sort of themes or categories of tools that you'll use. So of course, your customer relationship management is the critical part. It's the heartbeat of how you are going to engage with the people that you want to purchase and the people that you want to become evangelists of your product. So it helps you to stay focused on your people. It helps to solve problems quicker. That's essentially the trick, is that solving that problem quicker for the people that you want to purchase your product, because that's what you're out there for, is that your product solves a problem that they have. So how do you help them solve that problem better, quicker, cheaper, in a more effective way? Then your marketing, your automation tools are a way for you to make that experience more smoother and more easier to deal with. And then it's also a way to identify people who support your brand. It's a better way to engage with people on a one-on-one at scale. And then, of course, the critical part that most people kind of forget about is that how does all of this connect up to a more personable experience for your users, your customers? And that's the critical part, is how do you make it an experience and a service? So I know that our marketing guys talk a lot about experience, and we're kind of sick of it. But experience matters. That service matters. That's what makes a good product from a bad product. When we're talking about marketing automation, I just want to touch on this very quickly, because it's very important, because there's like 7,000 odd of these services of SaaS and microservices that exist. And then how do you pick it? Because a lot of times people think, okay, well, if I get this marketing automation, this tool, it's going to fix everything, the problems that I have, but it doesn't. For one simple reason, and we get back to this again, is that marketing automation is not there to fix a gap, to find new channels, to find new people. It's there to automate a process that already exists. If your service isn't right, if your experience isn't right, that automation is just going to be repeating that stuff up again and again and again. It's not going to fix or find a solution around it. So that's very much the critical part. I'm a bit hesitant to talk about tools in an open space, because tools are very specific. They're flavor orientated. They're depending on context. It's dependent on the way in which you operate. Because remember, the marketing automation itself, it only works if you have more money than time. If you find that you have some money on the side that you can spend, but time is of the essence to what you do, then look at your marketing automation a little more tightly, more closely, because otherwise you'll be just your money will be gone. So look at, if you have more time, if you are looking for more time, then marketing automation can help you. If you don't have that money to spend, then don't go the marketing automation route. Find other ways if you can. So some marketing automation tools that can exist is that There's from our customer relationships to that targeted sort of that or messaging from customer IO, are brilliant guys. There's also from if you have a lot of stock and a lot of product and a lot of pricing, if you're playing in that pricing field, which we kind of advise never to play in a pricing war game. But if you find that you are in a pricing sort of environment, a price sensitive environment, there are automation tools that can check the normal pricing forwards and change and adjust it according to any rules specific. So that helps you with your time. There's buffer, you can do scheduling and analyzing. There's ways to look at it. There's also very nice ones where you can open source. If you have a person who is dedicated to marketing your product, then yes, it makes sense to automate that process. If you have a marketing team that can actually work around these automation tools, then that's great. But don't just jump into a tool because you think it's going to provide you with a fix and a solution, because it's not. It's going to just accelerate a process that already exists, and that's essentially what you want to avoid. So how the Flywheel can then help you with that is saying, right, how does this help our whole customer? How are we helping them directly there? So we're just going to take a look at some very quick. So what do you do tomorrow? What do you do on a Monday morning, essentially? That's the real thing. Because you say, hey, Nick, okay, cool, I get this, but what do I do? Where do I start? Well, the simple approach is to identify where the force and friction is. So because it's a wheel, forces, as Zaid pointed out earlier, it's at motion. So force has a force on momentum, and friction and drag has an effect on that growth of it. The more force and momentum that you have, the bigger because that velocity and energy becomes. So you need to identify where your force is and where your drag is. So where our force is saying what is our value? And Tilo did a very nice workshop on Friday last week, was brilliant, where she said, okay, what is your value? That's essentially your force. Then what is your drag? Is saying where do I lose people? What is it? Is it the messaging? Is it the way that I'm attracting people is the problem? And then our force for that engagement part is saying, what is the actions that I need to take to make it more easier for people to purchase my product? Is it this whole thing I need to email them and they need to send whole EFT and a banking? Is that the process that's wrong or broken, and how do I fix it? What are the problems to purchasing the product? And then how do I bring success for my whole customer? It's not just me, but for my people who are purchasing a product or service from me. How do I help them? And then why don't store customers who recommend me, and find out why not? So we've been doing this in this webinar, saying, here, are we doing good? Are we doing bad? Where are we doing, and where exactly we can do better in it? So that's essentially how you can approach it. There's a lot more to this, but this is a quick sort of overview, and I hope you guys kind of have the back of your mind that there's momentum and motion that's involved. It's a simple principle. It's been around for millions of years, as long as the wheel has, but we tend to ignore it. Little survey, if you guys can just say, what exactly is it that you need to be more successful? And if you can give us some examples, that'll be great. What do you need today so that we can help you tomorrow?
Can everybody see the survey? It should be open and ready to go. So we're hoping you're going to feel like this guy at the end. Please put your thoughts in there. So this question's a little bit different that Nick is asking. He's saying, as an entrepreneur, to be successful, what do you feel that you need? Because now you've seen 3 big chunks, and this is your opportunity to say whatever you feel that you would need to either augment or in addition, or whatever it is that you would want here. Self-belief, positive mindset. Yeah, well, mindset is, there's a whole story there that the DE community's got, the entrepreneurial brain. If you haven't seen it, I recommend joining the community. So self-belief, mindset, and that, there's a lot of stuff that's awesome there. I mean, we've got neural paths to guide you. It's like a map that you can read. And it will really, really help you in terms of these 2 words here, self-belief, positive mindset, and how to get there. Mentoring, Canvas.
I think it's because it's actually quite nice, because people know that there's a whole challenge that they need to do, and so they're keen to get things done. So it's actually a nice cloud, because it shows that people are looking more forward, they're ready to get involved, they're looking for tools and things that they can actually do now. So it's a positive cloud. I like it. But the more help with how, yeah, that's what we're hoping with the DE community that we can help with. Positive mindset, hey, no, that's a given. As our whole entrepreneurs, we always hold positive people. The simplicity, yeah, it's cool. The campuses, yeah, definitely, and more sales, more clients, yeah, definitely. That's one of the things that we need to work on. Closing up, yeah, I don't see any more that's popping up. Oh, there we go. Value. Yeah,
Perfect
definitely.
value proposition. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
More
Strong.
help with how. I wish we knew how to what whoever put. Remember, this is all anonymous, so we won't know who put this here. More help with how, if it's possible, just to elaborate. You can submit more than once. It's the way we've set it up. Obviously, we want to help as best as possible. So if you put some detail there, value proposition. Yeah, value proposition is one of the most difficult things. So product, market, customer fit it's tough. It takes a lot of experimentation, courage, a bit of risk taking to find the right thing. And the most important thing around value proposition is to just get out there, ask your customers and get their opinion, because they'll tell you what they want rather than, you sit in the room and you think, I think this is an awesome idea, and you create it and then no one buys it or there's low traction. So
I think that's
experimentation is a
where
big thing.
that whole flywheel effect is actually quite very, very cool. And it's very important because it keeps you very closer to your customer itself. It keeps you engaged with them, and it keeps all of you guys, the whole team, involved around that one person or that old customer, so that you are all engaged. It's not just the marketing team who knows the person that you're trying to sell to. It's everyone from service to engagement to marketing to the the service delivery that's engaged with him. So yeah,
Yeah,
that whole
perfect.
customer.
I know, Nick, you're probably quite close to Zappos and how they work. They sell shoes, but everything is about the customer. From when you walk in the door to when you return to online delivery, like they started their value proposition by putting the customer in the middle and surrounding their whole business around the customer exclusively. And they're an awesome experience. You wouldn't expect to be delighted with a shoe company, but there's a lot of good things there to learn in terms of design.
One of the key things there, just very touchy, and to talk about this whole flywheel effect, is that a thing to remember is that your employee experience is never going to be more higher than your customer experience. So your customer experience will never be more higher than your employee experience. So then if your employees are not engaged in all of this, your customers are not going to be more higher than them. So that's the critical part. If you're not engaged as a unit, your customers are not going to be engaged.
That's fantastic, guys. Thank you so much for sharing that. We are going to move into a brief Q&A session.